Commissioner O'Neill, do you got the check run amount by chance in front of you?
Yes. March 2nd. Coming. Stand by. I just wrote it down too.
Are you making it up as you go? Is that what you're kind of doing?
just 1 second.
Do you want me to give it to you?
How close are you, Josh?
I hit the wrong button on my cell phone, so I'm going back on here.
All right, Jeanette, what do you have?
Jeanette, go ahead.
857,812.51. So $857,812.51.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to call. I hear an echo somewhere.
I think it's because you're both up in there, probably in the chambers on.
Okay, we're going to fix that. Okay. All right, well, I'm going to call the 24th, 2021 Finance and Budget Meeting to order. So I'm just going to go around the table as I see them. Commissioner O'Neill, do you have anything that you have any questions for the expenditure run?
Thank you, Chairman Sorich. I do. Question for Danette. On page 66, claim number 6106. Question on that.
Let's see. Are you looking at a private well testing at the Water Quality District?
Yes. Just curious what that is and how that works.
Okay, I'll give you the address. We don't see these very often at all. It's part of the Reclamation Department, Water Quality District funding, so it's funded through ARCO. If there's some contaminations, every once in a while, we'll pay for the testing on it to test to see if there's contamination. I'm not positive if that's this one, but let me grab.
Yeah, while you're looking, my main question on that is that money coming from ARCO? And then
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And this could also be, the weird part is it's coming from Montana Tech sponsored programs. So sometimes they do education stuff versus this being an actual, how that description says, private well testing. So I just want to look at it because a lot of times, like I said, it is education. It's their program that they're running. My guess is I have all the timesheets from the workers at Tech. This one is not a sampling. This has got to be the program that they run the program for us. And so this is the fees that we're getting charged for that. And a lot of it is educational too. Yeah, it's definitely not a test of a well. It's definitely for running the program.
And do we pay the money? I know it sounds crazy. Just that money comes from ARCO though?
Mm-hmm.
Or do we pay it? Or you write the check, if you will, but it comes from ARCO.
So we write the check to pay for this, and then we do quarterly draws to ARCO on our programming that we're required to do for ARCO, whether it's the Rmat program, the water quality program. What other ones do we have? The stormwater programs. Then we have to then we get reimbursed from ARCO. But it's part of what we've committed to do on our programming side. And then we issue contracts for different services sometimes. Sometimes we do it internally ourselves, other times it's contracted services out.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Anything else, Commissioner O'Neill?
Yeah, my next one, thank you, Chairman Storage, is page 81, claim number 6133 for the Butte Center Performing Arts.
This was a SARTA grant to the Butte Center of Performing Arts for lighting and equipment. It was part of, you know how they do their economic development grants and their grant funding programs out of the redevelopment trust funds. This is one of the grants that was let to do the work on their lighting. I think it's the stage lighting, if I remember right on this one.
And is that the stage lighting where?
Oh,
Is that at the
Motherlode.
Motherlode? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Mhm.
I have one more if I could, Chairman.
Mr. O'Neill?
Let's see. Page 88. Claim number 5942 is for the radio upgrade.
Oh, yeah.
So that was an additional ad versus is that 159,000 more than what we expected?
No, they did it in a series of draws based on the, so we did partial payments for the draws. So we did the funding through US Bank as a capital lease program, but we only pay Motorola based on the work that they performed. So we do have a lot of the work performed. One of the large payments was probably around 1.4, 1.5 million for the radios themselves. And this is just a progress payment towards installation and upgrade. It's the final pieces of the contract being paid now.
Good deal. Thanks, Danette. I appreciate it.
Uh-huh. And back to that one on the well testing, it looks like it might have been for some sampling too. So just so you're aware.
Well, thank you. I was just curious. I didn't know if that had anything to do with some of the wells that get tested, like in the Molten area. If it was, I don't know. It was just,
Yeah.
Be honest with you, I heard somebody tell me about it yesterday, and then I read it in here today, and so I appreciate the information. I feel more educated. Thank you.
The ones that you might be talking about, and Mark and Erie could better tell you. I'm trying to think of what their, I can't think of the name of the street. There's like 3 or 4 homes on the street that we pay for their bottled water, and we pay for their well testing because of the our ability to pull water, service water to them in their location. You've seen those before.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's different. This is different than those.
All right. Good deal. Thank you. That's all I have. I appreciate it.
Okay. Commissioner Thatcher, do you have anything that you would like to ask?
Thank you, Chairman Storage. I just have one that might lead into 2. Danae, on claim number 5973, it's under budget and finance. It's for Quadient for postage. What is that? What is that postage? Is that like accounts payable or what?
So that's all the postage for the county. So it's downstairs. We have our own postage machine downstairs in the chief executive's office. So this is just the department is finance and budget. It's more of a central equipment department that runs the postage, and we have to buy the postage in advance. And then every month we run a meter read off the report. The gals in the PBX department do. And then we allocate charges to the various departments based on their use of postage. You're going to see us coming in a few weeks back to council to do an unanticipated revenue resolution for postage, because we didn't anticipate having to do the mail-in ballot elections in the fall. And so we're starting to run low on our postage, but we have the funds because we got reimbursed for having a mail ballot. So we'll be coming back to you, but we usually buy around $10,000 or $15,000 when we buy postage. Sometimes we'll do it in 5,000 increments, but then it's just, then within 2 weeks, we're buying, another 5,000 sometimes. It just depends upon the mailing, a lot of the mailing that comes out of the treasurer's office and the clerk recorder's office up here.
Follow-up. So then on claim number 5944, how come there's postage under the water department?
So the water, this is their bills. So we don't run all their bills. They process 12 or 13,000 bills a month. So the PDX department does not stand there and process bills. So these are pre-printed envelopes, and the postage is put on by InstaPrints when they generate our water bills.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Reardon.
Thank you, Chair Storage.
I think you're,
Romeo and I will understand water. I guess my question and all that.
Can you repeat that, John?
are you on mute, John?
Oh, I get it.
Okay.
Or John Soares, can you repeat maybe? I couldn't hear him at all.
All right, you said to get closer to my computer. Is that better?
Can everybody hear Commissioner Reardon?
All right.
Not really.
Yeah, hold on.
Hang on, I got this guy.
While we're doing that, Commissioner Fortune, do you have anything that you want to ask?
I don't have any questions this time.
Okay. I had just a quick question and a quick comment. This is for Danette. Danette, I seen there was one claim for 30 cents.
Oh, a processing fee.
Is that what that?
I can't remember who, it was an overcharge on some maintenance contract in the clerk and recorder's office? Was that it?
I thought it's something for Public Works. I can't remember.
I think it was the clerk and recorders, and we asked if we could just add it on to something different later, but it's a maintenance,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was the clerk and recorder's office. It's like a overcharge for a copier yep, right here. It's the clerk and recorder's office on their maintenance contract, 38 cents.
Yeah.
Yep. To 360 Office Solutions. So they're only paying them 38 cents, but we held it till we had other invoices on the check run that we're paying 360 for. So that's not the only payment. We're not writing a check for 38 cents.
Okay. I was because my next comment was going to be, has there been any kind of discussion like a petty cash, for any kind of these charges for under?
Yeah, and we do have petty cash funds, and we do have our P cards now that we would be using. But in this case, there's always other charges on our statement. So.
Okay. Commissioner Reardon. Okay, we're still waiting for John.
Okay.
Here we go. The light's on.
Good deal.
All right.
We can't hear him.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, I should be
Now-
good to go.
Yep.
Okay, I guess I have a bad microphone on my computer, so I have one of the other ones.
Okay.
Basically, like I said, when you guys couldn't hear me, it's Commissioner O'Neill and I hit basically on the same question and all that. I just have a question, I guess, basically about the budgeting from ARCO, and I think one of the commissioners touched on that, the money that influxes into the budget and being from ARCO is being paid out through this process, correct?
Yes.
That's what I understand. And then
Right.
number two is, I guess my question was, what about SARTA? Does any of the SARTA money pass through our budget department? And, what are the basic, do we do all SARTA? Or do we just do certain things allocated to the certain programs that we oversee?
So back to the first question. So, like Commissioner O'Neill had discussed with us, the water quality is one budget, the RMAP is another, and then we have two different funds off of Metro that it's
I can't hear nothing either.
Can you hear, John?
Okay, how's that?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so the way the ARCO funds works, it's based on the programming and the current agreements in place as of today that are all being renegotiated. But Vanguard is an entity that holds money for ARCO. And so we do draws to ARCO usually on a quarterly basis. And it's based on like some of the expenditures we've made, but up front, what we do, or what the department does, is they try to anticipate the funding. So they do more of a draw in advance, and then they have to reconcile back into their expenditures. So hopefully at the end of the day, when an end of a quarter comes, we're pretty matched up with what our money that we have that we've received from ARCO matches the money that we've expended out, so that our general fund isn't floating any type of expenditures. That's the ARCO funds that are separate from the SARTA redevelopment trust funds. The redevelopment trust funds, Commissioner O'Neill also asked tonight about a claim that related to some grant funds that were given to the Center of Performing Arts for lighting, and that's SARTA money. So the SARTA board sits, Commissioner Frederickson is on, he's on the meeting tonight here, but he sits on the SARTA board as well. They decide every year. Last night they had a meeting and they'll start setting their budget. They had discussions that they'll start working on their budget for their next meeting, which is March 9th, I believe it was. And they'll start determining how much they want to allocate out in each one of the buckets. So there's various buckets based on the allocation agreement of how the funding has to work. But SARTA controls how those funds are distributed, and based on that allocation agreement, they have discretionary to determine how the funds are expended. The health initiative one is the only bucket, I believe, and Commissioner Frederickson can jump in here, that the health board outside of SARTA gets to help. They put in a request of how they want their funds spent for a particular budget year. But you see the claims coming through council, not so much for your approval. It's more of an information, because the SARTA board does have control over how the funds are allocated and used.
Anything else, Mr. Reardon?
Thank you. No, thank you, Danette.
Mm-hmm.
Then I just got a quick comment. You know, that on the, when you're talking about the funding that you're getting from ARCO on a monthly, you try to forecast it. Okay, and this is also where this backstop would also come into play. You know, because that was a huge, you know, this is probably for the some of the new commissioners. You know, that was, there is a backstop, so if there is a shortage,
They have to fill it.
it will be covered.
Yes. In the current agreements, yes, that's how it works, is that if we have an overrun in the funds, which they do very well, that's why Vanguard and ARCO AR has kept the funding, because they're able to earn much better rate of return than what I can here at the local government and build on those funds. But at the end of the day, if we had to do some additional programming, or there wasn't sufficient funds available in those trust funds, then those backstops kick in, and ARCO has to find a way to pay for the programming that we've agreed to complete.
Is there anything else in the expenditure on any of the commissioners want to ask? If not, Danette, do you want to talk about the budget transfers?
Yes, and I just shut them down, so hold on one second. Sorry. Okay. Trying to save paper, not printing them. Okay, so the first one was the JP courts. The justice courts have decided to switch banking. So they, at one point in time, they used Wells Fargo for banking, and now they're at Glacier. And this is for, it's out of my control, Josh. I can't control that. So they use, they had to order some checks and deposit slips beyond what they had originally thought they'd be ordering out of their budgets. And then the next one is a transfer within the ARCO budget. This CERC pay that they have is just an additional pay that was part of the bargaining agreement for their laborers. That changed significantly in their last contract. The next one is also, this is the Rmat program, and it's for additional supplies, changing around their budget authority. For our accounting purposes, we prefer that they take the installation out of operating supplies and not repair and maintenance supplies, because it's not really our cost of our repairs and maintenance. So it's just an allocation change on their budget. In the fire department, they did additional pest control. There was something else charged to this budget. Oh, I know what it was. They had to do some additional background checks out of their 390 account. And so it never left them enough funding to finish out the fiscal year with their pest control and the volunteer stations. So this budget transfer should cover those costs. This is a grant budget. The J grant 2921 is a J grant budget. If you're following along, this is just transferring money over to professional services from other purchase services. Again, more of our accounting of how we account for like a licensed professional versus other purchase services. Let's see. The last one here that I have is the Ramsey TIFID number 2, transferring and increasing repair and maintenance by 1,000, decreasing professional services. This was to cover some blinds that's down in Kristen Rose's office. I don't know if you've ever seen those great big huge windows behind Kristen, but the sun beats in there. So those are blinds for her office. Then we had a $250 transfer for postage within the junk vehicle program. So they've been doing a lot of work in mailing. So this, to Hattie's question, is we charge departments postage. And so they had to, and that's how that internal service fund generates its revenue to pay postage, is through these charges on a monthly basis. And so they had to increase their budget. And that's all that there was.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Do any commissioners have any questions on the budget transfers? No questions. Okay, if not, I would ask Commissioner O'Neill to make a motion, please.
Thanks, Commissioner. Chairman Sorich, this time I'd like to make a motion to approve the expenditure list on Tuesday, February 24th, 2021, in the amount of $857,812.51.
We got a motion made and second. All signify by saying yeah, aye, or thumbs up. All those against? Motion passes. Okay.
All right.
Come before our committee. If not, I'd entertain. Commissioner Makins, did you want to say something? Okay. If not, I entertain a motion to adjourn. We got a motion from adjournment from Commissioner Fisher. All those in favor? Second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion made and second. All those in favor?
Right.
All those against? Okay. All right, we'll see everybody here very shortly. Thank you.